We start chapter 238 with Kashimo taking a closer look at Sukuna's new body. Thanks to his curse technique, he can use X-rays to study his opponent's insides. The King of Curses has fully transformed, back to 4 arms, 2 mouths, and extra eyes. There's an aura radiating off of him. Dark, murderous intent swirling over the battlefield. It's almost enough to overwhelm Kashimo. But he's not frightened, he's impressed. To Kashimo, a man who lived pretty much just to kill stuff, this new body is amazing to look at. With 4 arms, Sukuna can make as many hand signs as he wants, while still freely able to use cursed tools or block incoming attacks. With 2 mouths, he can chant whatever is needed for his spells without even pausing for a breath. It's not just about looking savage and monstrous. Sukuna designed this form to give himself the ultimate competitive edge in any fight. Thanks to his X-rays, Kashimo can confirm that all the extra muscles required by his body don't interfere with Sukuna's health or ability to move either. It's perfect. But before we go any further, this video is sponsored by War Thunder, the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made. It's got over 2,000 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships you can control in dynamic, combined arms PvP warfare. Want an anime twist? They've got thousands of community skins for you to show off your favorite series in battle. You can even create your own. It's easy to jump into. Even aircrafts are simple to fly with just a mouse and keyboard thanks to the game's intuitive mouse aim mode. The final result is beautiful, rendered with incredible 4K graphics, authentic sound effects, and amazing music. You can even get voice packs based on anime. If I'm rolling into battle in a hefty T-24, hearing Tanya yell out orders just makes things even more epic. They even have a special promotion. New players, or those who haven't played in 6 months or more, get the body pillow pack thanks to our link. It's got multiple premium vehicles, premium account privileges, and a unique Dakimakura available for a limited time only. And even if you're an active player, you can still get the Dakimakura thanks to this link. So go play it. War Thunder is available for free on PC, Xbox Series X and S, PS5, or the previous console generation. And this means we have an answer to Kashimo's question from last time. It would be a massive coincidence to think that Sukuna's new form just happened. It's perfect for Jujutsu. It's designed to make Sukuna the strongest sorcerer, not just a strong warrior in general. There are no weaknesses, no problems with it. It really makes it look like this body was something Sukuna intentionally made. He has to have thought this out, right? Maybe Sukuna forgot his origin. He's been around for centuries now, but at one point, Sukuna must have wanted to become strong. So he wasn't always like this. He used to be weak, normal. Getting to this point took effort. What made him want to become strong? What put him on this path? Kashimo thinks back to Sukuna's history. The King of Curses fought a lot of people back in his era. With his famous cursed tools, the Kamutoke and Hiten, the Kamutoke? Sukuna had Kamutoke back in his original lifetime? That's confusing. Everyone just assumed that the Kamutoke was the tool Yoruzu made as she lay dying. We saw her activate her technique then. Last chapter directly confirmed that she is the one who made Kamutoke. It all seemed to line up, but that just got contradicted hard. Sukuna had this thing centuries before Yoruzu's death. It was only introduced last chapter. This probably isn't a continuity mistake, and this doesn't contradict anything. Yoruzu is another ancient sorcerer. She could have made Kamutoke back during her original life. She loved Sukuna back then too. Maybe Ryomen was just holding on to it for their boss's return. But even if we explain it like this, the situation's still weird. If Sukuna had Kamutoke during his first lifetime, what did Yoruzu make while she was dying then? What was she trying to do with the final use of her curse technique? Was she even making something for Sukuna at all? Plus, this means that there's another cursed tool of Sukuna's that he's not using. The Hiten has to be this spear or staff thing. It's much bigger than the Kamutoke and would probably require 2 arms to wield. Since it would make it harder to make hand signs, it was probably something extremely potent. So what happened to Hiten? Is Sukuna seriously sitting on yet another power-up? Unfortunately, Kashimo does not know enough to answer that question. He just knows the official Jujutsu history of Sukuna. This perfect warrior body explains a lot about why he was such a threat. Sukuna wiped out the elite celestial squad. He took down 5 void generals who were under the attack of the Fujiwara family. Sukuna fought off the Abe clan's Desichin squad, Angel's old faction with the Sugawara clan. The entire Jujutsu world can't stop this guy. Kashimo just gapes at the sheer power Sukuna is able to throw around now that he's got his body back. He's up against a monster, but looking at this Sukuna, this warped monstrous body, Kashimo can only call him one thing: beautiful. Hey dude, if that's what you're into. There's a flash of energy around Kashimo as Sukuna opens up with another Kamutoke blast. It doesn't do damage, but it doesn't have to. The force is enough to knock Kashimo off of his feet. It gives him enough time to get close, wrestling Kashimo's block away and landing 2 fierce punches at the electrical warrior, clutching Kamutoke in his mouth, so he's got all 4 hands free for this. The King of Curses doesn't let up, lashing out at Kashimo again and again with all 4 hands. His punches are enough to land the other man on the ground. Even with his energy-based form, the sheer force is overwhelming to Kashimo. He manages to stay on his feet, but only just barely, groaning in pain. He's still got his mind on the fight though, starting to focus energy on his hands. Sukuna hangs back, making hand signs with his lower pair of arms, ready for his next big move. Fighting through the pain of turning his body into energy, Kashimo brings his hands together and launches a beam of light at Sukuna. He's not going to lie down and die, even against his perfect body. But this whole fight just got very different, and it's time for the other benefit of this new form to kick in. Sukuna's smirking gut mouth chants a shielding technique, repelling Kashimo's attack. It doesn't even take his main body any effort to nullify that hit. Now that he's done preparing his technique, Sukuna fires back immediately, taunting Kashimo to just try and dodge this next attack. Twin Meteors, Dismantle. The slash comes from above, with enough force to split a mountain. It's like some angry god reached down into the world. The edges of the blast fray as the technique cuts through space and light. Even with his body transformed to electricity, this hurt Kashimo, drawing vicious black blood from the godlike sorcerer. Cut anything wasn't just Sukuna being dramatic. He's really at that point now. Kashimo's still conscious though, and he gets a better look at the result of Sukuna's technique. It really is the same move that took down Gojo. A powered-up dismantle that ripped a gouge right through the entire world. Perhaps as a reward for surviving that attack, Sukuna takes a pause from the fight. He's ready to talk to Kashimo for a bit. He's not forgotten the old warrior's questions. After surviving so long, Sukuna is willing to try and explain what he thinks about how the strong relate to people. He's still got Yoruzu on his mind. She would be so happy to know that Sukuna still remembered her, even if he refuses to use her name, instead calling her a fool who preached to him about love. It's still some kind of care. Sukuna recaps Yoruzu's argument for Kashimo, the idea that someone strong enough can't understand love. They're forced to be alone, and that keeps them distant from everyone else. If you're living in a one-person world where you're the only one that matters, you can't relate to other people. Sukuna, though, thinks Yoruzu was wrong. He's convinced he does understand people. He was just annoyed by Yoruzu, so he didn't bother trying to correct her. Nobody likes being told they don't understand. And hey, even Yoruzu was starting to suspect that Sukuna understands what love is. She didn't want to admit it and started yelling that he got it wrong, but saw some kind of recognition in his eyes. Sukuna's not just making this up for Kashimo. Now that he's met the other ancient warrior though, Sukuna throws out the idea that Gojo and Kashimo probably would have been better company for Yoruzu. Her view of the world fits theirs better. And he's kinda got a point. Yoruzu just latched onto Sukuna after meeting him and seeing his strength, assuming that made him lonely. She didn't know anything about him, what he thought, what he wanted. She had just felt how powerful he was, and everything else was her assumptions. If she had been born in another era, fallen for Kashimo or Gojo, Yoruzu might have mellowed out a bit. Maybe. Sukuna thinks Kashimo actually already knows how the strong can love the weak. He just hasn't quite put all the pieces together. The old warrior asks Sukuna to explain, still not sure where the King of Curses is going with this. But the explanation is over for now. Sukuna grips Kamutoke in a clenched fist. There's one thing he will admit. Kashimo was strong. He throws another bolt of lightning at his opponent, restarting the fight rather than talking further. The lightning doesn't hurt, doesn't even drive Kashimo back, but that's not the point. It's a distraction. Before Kashimo can fire a counterattack, Sukuna darts around fast enough to get behind the other sorcerer. Kashimo knows what's coming. He tries to turn around, still charging his attack, but he's too slow. Sukuna's on him, and this time, he's lashing out. This time, he grips Kashimo's arms with his 2 higher limbs, while the lower pair punch the Thunder God again and again and again. Kashimo coughs up blood from his twisted, fanged mouth. Even in this form, he can still take organ damage. Sukuna slams the Lightning God to the ground, not giving him a moment's rest or chance to recover. Like this, he's got more than enough strength to rip even a man made of electricity to pieces. Though, what the hell? The fight's almost done now. He can have a little fun. Picking Kashimo up, Sukuna throws him away one last time. Kashimo, seeing the opportunity, raises his hands to try one final, desperate attack. But before he can complete the technique, his eyes widen. It's already too late. That last dismantle hadn't been what finished Gojo. That had been one slash, something you can dodge. This time, Sukuna's unleashed the exact same technique he used to take apart infinity. A wall of slashes crisscrossing through the sky. The endless dismantle rumbles, moving across the battlefield right at Kashimo. They really do cut everything. You can't even see what's on the other side of this massive, all-encompassing curse technique. There is no way out of this. What could anyone do against an attack like that? And with this final move, just like Gojo before him, Kashimo returns to a simpler time. His mortal life standing on a hill in his original body. Only Kashimo doesn't have any old friends to catch up with. Instead, Sukuna's shown up on this pretty little mountainside, ready to try and finally give him a proper answer. The King of Curses can understand Kashimo. They lived lives that were at least kinda similar. Kashimo was a strong guy who fought many warriors who put their heart and soul into trying to take him down. We've seen that from the Lightning God's memories. Kashimo's life was nothing but fight after fight, leaving blood and devastation wherever he went. But why was that? Why did so many people try to fight Kashimo knowing they'd lose and die? Sukuna's answer is simple. These other warriors wanted recognition, validation, a chance to prove that they were devoted warriors. To Sukuna, that is love. That's caring about other people. Maybe this week's author comment can give us some insight. Quote, I mentioned there was someone cute in Street Fighter, and the person I was talking to guessed Juri instantly. Juri? Juri Han? Cute? Really, Gege? No disrespect, she's cool and sure she goes for a sexy vibe, but cute? Would she even want to be called that? I never really thought that was her style. Okay, if you're a Juri fan, is cute the first thing that comes to mind when you think to describe her? Bonus points, would you call her cute to her face? Wasn't expecting to talk about Street Fighter here, but hey, I guess we know Gege has a type now. But back to Sukuna and his love advice. What even is this chapter? To Sukuna, all that bloodshed isn't just the strong showing love to the weak. It goes both ways. The people who seek them out validate strong fighters like him and Kashimo. They give up their lives just to show them that they're strong. Sukuna and Kashimo just respond to that in kind. Their strength makes them loved as much as it leaves them isolated. That's why he thinks Kashimo's greedy for wanting more than that. The other guy can't accept solitude and that love as enough. To Sukuna, the Lightning God just wants everything. Validation from killing warriors and the one-to-one personal stuff. The perks of both the strong and the weak. Kashimo, for this part, isn't convinced by this argument. He enjoys fighting, sure, but killing doesn't seem like it holds that kind of emotional payoff to him. He's not even sure this idea was enough for Sukuna. If just slaughtering the weak is supposed to be how the strong show love, why did Sukuna reject it? He split his soul into cursed objects, prolonged his life. Shouldn't he have just fought, lived, and died with the people of his time? And Sukuna agrees. While he thinks he's got love figured out, he views it as a worthless idea. Sukuna claims he doesn't need that kind of relationship with other people to live a fulfilling life. He just does whatever he wants, whenever he wants. If he wants to eat, he eats. If something annoys him, he kills it. If something amuses him, he'll play along. If other people don't agree, that's not his problem. That's a lie. I mean, yeah, that's how Sukuna acts, doing whatever he wants. But not needing other people? Not getting anything out of that relationship? That part's not true. We've seen his reaction to Gojo actually giving him a challenging fight. Sukuna was happier than he had been at any prior point in the series. He didn't insult Gojo or make some kind of wisecrack. He complimented the other sorcerer and claimed he would never forget him. When Kashimo showed up, Sukuna was annoyed at the idea of his good mood being spoiled. This whole conversation puts Sukuna's fight with Gojo into a new light. It's obvious that connection, that mutual validation, was something that he enjoyed. It meant something. Even if Sukuna wants to claim he's fine with being isolated, he's not being honest with himself, because that fight was love, at least if we're going by Sukuna's definition. Two worthy combatants testing each other's strength, proving to one another what they are, and that did get a reaction from Sukuna. Gojo was annoyed that giving this fight his all wasn't enough to make Sukuna understand that connection, but maybe he did start to make a connection. Maybe. Kashimo smiles. He can see why that was enough for Sukuna, though maybe it was too much. The other man sounds bored of it all, but Sukuna claims he isn't. Even if he doesn't love them, he enjoys messing with other people. Humans are a diverse bunch, always having some fresh surprises in store. They don't last long as individuals, but humanity as a whole always gives him something to enjoy. He always has something to do, someone to toy with. Back in the real world, this first post-Gojo fight is over. There is no sign of Kashimo. He didn't have a way out of that last attack. He had one final discussion with Sukuna. That was it. The battle in Hikari's domain is still raging on, though it's starting to crack beneath the surface. Neither fighter's been obviously injured. Ryomen looks extremely frustrated. They're probably annoyed at having to have put up with Private Pure Love Train all this time, especially since while Jackpot's going on, the theme song is supposed to play. If Hikari's had multiple jackpots during this fight, it would repeat from the start every time he opens his domain. So Ryomen's been stuck listening to someone sing about udon, hairy backs, and papaya paya paya on loop. No wonder he looks furious. Down on the ground, Sukuna looks to his next challenger with a grin. Or rather, challengers. Because both Yuji Itadori and Hiromi Higuruma are stepping into the ring. Sukuna laughs. He's convinced that brat won't be able to do anything. But Yuji's looking determined. He must have some kind of plan worked out. This team-up could be very effective in theory. Higuruma's domain can stop an opponent accessing their cursed energy, provided he can prove the target committed a crime. In extreme cases, he can even get access to the Executioner's Sword, a weapon that kills with just one hit. He's got all he needs to take even a powerful sorcerer like Sukuna down. Now, Higuruma is a novice at Jujutsu Sorcery. He's a normal guy who just got swept up by Kenjaku empowering people in the culling game. The lawyer's powerful, sure, but he's not a trained fighter, and Sukuna is. He's not going to be easy to fight, even with his cursed energy restricted. We've seen him do surprisingly well last time that happened. Still, the same goes for Yuji. He can provide the backup muscle and make this fight viable, especially if Sukuna manages to keep some cursed energy. Even if he's just here as Higuruma's bodyguard, he could be the key to turning this around. Yuji's looking different though. He's wearing forearm bracers and has his teeth pressed against his wrist, and his nails have gotten sharp. They look like claws now. The bracers could be some kind of upgrade or cursed tool. With Jujutsu High backing Yuji up, he could have found some new weapon to use. But claws don't fit Yuji's fighting style. He's a brawler, he just punches people. And that pose makes it look like he's planning to use his teeth to draw blood. Is this Yuji? This could be someone else pretending to be Itadori to mess with Sukuna. If the powerless normal guy suddenly starts using cursed energy, it'll be a great sneak attack. If this is the real Yuji though, it looks like he's got some kind of really weird plan in mind. Maybe setting up some kind of blood manipulation trap for Choso or Noritoshi. Either way, this whole plan has one big possible weak spot. They have to prove Sukuna guilty of something in court. Higuruma's control over his domain is limited, and he's forced to follow a strict set of rules. He doesn't get to pick the case, he doesn't get conclusive evidence, and it's Judge Man, the spirit, that ultimately decides if the target's innocent or guilty. If Sukuna can find a way to trick the judge, or make some crazy argument as to why he's innocent, Yuji and Higuruma could be in trouble very quickly. But hey, for all we know, they could just be the diversion. I wonder what Yuta and Maki are up to right now. In the comments, let us know if you expected Kashimo to get bodied this quickly. Characters are being called frauds left and right, but really man, Sukuna is just that powerful. Also go ahead and drop all your predictions for what's to come next. As always, I'm Sliceable Otaku. Thank you all so much for watching. Have an awesome day. I love you. This video was sponsored by War Thunder. Available for free on PC, Xbox Series X and S, PS5, or the previous console generation. Remember to grab the Body Pillow pack with our link below. It's got multiple premium vehicles, premium account privileges, and a unique Dakimakura available for a limited time only.